Support WrestleTalk!
I'm back, bitches. I've been off for 2 weeks on my little hollybobs. I went on a little jolly to a hot place and had a lovely time until WWE decided to ruin my vacation, specifically by releasing Keith Lee. I'm really trying not to take it personally, but I'm back now, and WWE have decided to welcome me back by releasing the rest of Hit Row. You know, the other bit of WWE I really liked, along with the old NXT and the Firefly Funhouse, and remind me why we watched this product again. Oh yeah, to cover the news. Gigantic sigh. Anyway, I'm Adam from WrestleTalk, and here are this week's 10 news stories you may have missed, and please cheer me up in the wake of Keith Lee being released by subscribing. I don't have a joke, just it bums me out massively, so just click like, I guess. Jeez. Number 1, WrestleMania 38, disaster. WrestleMania 38 is being promoted as the most stupendous two-night WrestleMania in history. Now seriously, that's real. Bearing in mind there have only been 2 WrestleManias across 2 nights before, they've set the bar real low. Also, stupendous. But having had WWE's tickets on sale launch party for the 38th installment of the biggest wrestling show of the year last week, tickets then went on sale for the general public on November 12th, and those initial ticket sales are reportedly not stupendous. According to Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, initial sales are far from selling out the AT&T Stadium. That is 5 fars, Dave. Does that mean Dave Meltzer has given WrestleMania 38 a 5-far rating? Just gonna let that one hang. I've been on holiday. According to Meltz, a WWE source also noted that WWE planned to make the tickets easier to buy price-wise, and while the initial pricings were the same, they have now reportedly lowered some of them in an attempt to drive up those sales. Meanwhile, over in AEW, number 2, Full Gear did very, very well. Full Gear was last weekend, and despite other shows having arguably more enticing lead-ins, such as the reveal of the big former world champion Hall of Fame guy at Revolution, or the potential debuts of Ruby Soho, Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson at All Out, all of which ended up happening, it seemed like a card that had the potential of just some really good wrestling on it, and that is apparently enough for AEW fans. What's wrong with them? Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics is reporting that Full Gear is set to be AEW's second highest ever bought pay-per-view after All Out in September. The early numbers indicate 145,000 pay-per-view buys, though this is an estimate as traditional cable and satellite distributors take longer to report their numbers. Regardless, Full Gear is no doubt seen as an overwhelming success. Number 3, Tony Khan slams bullshit comparisons with AEW and Saudi Arabia. If you cast your mind back to the time of about a few weeks ago, you might remember Crown Jewel being alright. Riddle came out on a camel. It was alright. The latest WWE Saudi show was the best of a bad bunch. It's not really saying much, but despite the ongoing relationship between WWE and the Kingdom drawing the ire of many a wrestling fan due to questionable morals, almost entirely transparent propaganda promoting how great Saudi Arabia is, and also the shows being terrible most of the time, there has also been some criticism thrown the way of Shad Khan, the father of AEW president Tony Khan. This is because Shad had dealings with a Saudi gentleman when he bought the Four Seasons Hotel from him 5 years ago, with fans comparing this business venture with WWE's. But now Tony himself has responded on the AEW post-Full Gear scrum, saying it's very much an apples and oranges thing when you compare the ongoing business relationship between WWE and Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to what my dad did, which was purchasing a property from an individual, not the government. But I see people say stuff like, oh, Shad Khan does business with Saudi Arabia. That's bullshit. I've seen people bring this up online for years, and they are wrong. Number 4, Jeff Hardy wants Willow to be his Fiend. One of the more controversial WWE releases from this year was Bray Wyatt, who in July was unceremoniously let go from the company, but interestingly, Jeff Hardy feels he can fill the Fiend-shaped void left in his wake with his constantly mentioned in interviews character, Willow. Hardy portrayed Willow in TNA, but aside from the odd tease here and there, nothing has come from it on WWE TV. That may be about to change though, as Hardy mentioned in an interview with Metro that he has had some ideas about Willow he wanted to pitch to WWE Creative, which he admits they might shut down, but apparently those plans are also, and I quote, might be cool. He also said that he's not sure if the ideas he's written down really make sense, which is reassuring. Hardy also mentioned he really liked the way the lights slowly shut down whenever the Fiend appeared, but now Wyatt's gone, he'd like to do something similar to that with Willow. But hey, I'm sure it could maybe work, and people definitely wouldn't reject it out of hand for being a Fiend ripoff, right? No one else has gotten backlash for hijacking Bray's gimmick, right? Again, sorry about that, Alexa. Number 5, WWE fast-tracking new producer. Since winning King of the Ring, King Woods has been getting a bit of a push on SmackDown, being involved in a feud with Roman Reigns, and technically giving Reigns his first loss since like 2019. I think, no, I don't care what WWE says. It wasn't a no contest. The Usos clearly attacked Woods, meaning it was a DQ victory for Woods, and Roman Reigns lost. That's just how wrestling works. They're rules you made, WWE. I won't argue about this. Interestingly, though, previous reports had listed the brand new WWE producer and inventor of the Canadian Destroyer, P.T. Williams, as the sole producer of that match. However, now Ringside News is reporting it was actually Michael Hayes who was the producer, as he normally is for a lot of segments involving Roman Reigns. P.T. Williams was shadowing Hayes in the role and is supposedly being fast-tracked into that role. Number 6. Golly Molly Holly's Jolly. Speaking of backstage producers, it's been reported by Ringside News that perennial bundle of joy Molly Holly has been getting great reviews in her role as a producer in WWE, a role she's had since June. She reportedly, alongside TJ Wilson, was in charge of Sasha Banks' promo and the 6-woman tag match on SmackDown last week, and co-produced the women's 5-way match on Raw too. Good for Molly Holly. I'm glad she's been able to bounce back after, checks notes, having a WWE Hall of Fame speech cut down from 15 minutes to 2 and cried for 4 hours afterwards. Jesus Christ, this company. Number 7, Randy Orton, hardest worker in WWE. The day this video goes out will be Survivor Series, and not only is it the one night of the year where SmackDown and Raw go head-to-head in direct competition despite the draft just happening, so who gives a shit? It'll also be the night we see a huge milestone broken for one Randall Keith Orton. RK Bro are set to take on the Usos in a Champions versus Champions match, but it's not the winners of that match, it actually matters in this case, which I think is actually the motto hung up on the wall of WWE's creative offices. But anyway, this match will be Randy Orton's 177th match on pay-per-view, breaking the all-time record ahead of Kane with 176. The Undertaker has 174 to his name, Triple H has 173. That is an awful lot of matches for Randall Keith, so well done, Mr. Orton. Number 8, NXT 2.0. No. Oh no. Things aren't looking too hot for NXT 2.0 since their colourful rebrand of the show. Viewership has steadily declined week on week, even leading to reports earlier this week that WWE were considering rebranding it again, making it more edgy. Again, going back to TV 14. Again, fuck though. The prime example of 2.0 falling short was from this week's episode, which drew NXT's lowest viewership since February when they were still going head-to-head with AEW. The show drew an average of 574,000 viewers. I don't know why people aren't watching. Why doesn't everyone want to see a poker showdown? I miss NXT so much. Number 9, Queen Zelina checks the dirt sheet. Zelina Vega, now going by Queen Zelina after her Queen's Crown Tournament win at Crown Jewel, recently appeared on Ryan Satin's Out of Character podcast, where she spoke about when she first heard about the tournament. And you'd think, considering that she won the thing, she might have heard about it a little earlier than others. Well, no, she actually heard about it at the same time everyone else did, because she read about it online. Quote, I was like, man, I would love to hear about this from my job. I'd love to hear it from the horse's mouth and know this is 100% actually happening instead of getting excited for something and it doesn't happen. I remember reading about it briefly on the internet and was like, that'd be really cool if it was actually a thing. What's it like to get excited about something and then it doesn't happen? I'm sure WWE fans wouldn't know what that's like at all. Like, sorry guys, this one's a lot, it's a lot meaner, this list, than it normally is, but they released Keith Lee. I'm f***ing raging. Number 10, Xavier Woods fixes Survivor Series. So, Survivor Series, the stakes are pretty non-existent, brand supremacy immediately after a draft, the one night of the year where, etc. Except it's not the one night of the year, and several of the people fighting are actually on a different brand not long. There's been much more outward criticism of the format this year, basically, even from some WWE wrestlers such as Becky Lynch and Xavier Woods, and it's the latter of the two that has a curious suggestion about how to fix it. Appearing on WWE's own YouTube channel, Woods suggested that the 5-on-5 elimination matches should determine numbers 1 to 5 and 26 to 30 in the Royal Rumble. Winning team gets the final 5 spots, losing team gets the first 5 spots, and each team has an elimination match after the fact to determine the order of picks. I mean, that's something. That's consequences. Anything's better than what they got currently, and that's our list. What's been your favourite bit of news? Sorry, Keith Lee. How did they... Goodbye. Jam that jam.